If you're watching this, chances are you're still thinking about them. You're still replaying old messages, still wondering what really happened, still checking their social media, hoping maybe they'll reach out first. But here's the hard truth. They're not coming back. Not the way you're hoping. Not unless you completely shift the energy. Right now, your ex isn't missing you. They feel relaxed. They think they're in control. Maybe they even believe you'll keep chasing them. But what if I told you there's a way to turn the tables completely and make them regret ever walking away? This isn't about pleading. It's not about sending some long emotional message at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's not even about getting closure. This is about psychology, power, control, and attraction. Because here's something no one really tells you. Exes don't come back because you convince them. They come back because they feel like they lost something that mattered. And that's where you come in. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to do, one powerful shift that makes 99% of exes start thinking about you constantly, not because you begged, but because you became unforgettable. If you've been stuck, wondering why your ex seems totally fine without you, or why the no contact rule isn't doing what it's supposed to, this video is the wake-up call. You stick around, because by the end of this, you won't just understand what makes an ex come back, you'll know how to make them chase you. Let's be honest for a second. If your ex hasn't reached out yet, it's not because they forgot you. It's not because they've truly moved on, no matter how perfect their social media might look. And it's definitely not because they've stopped caring completely. The truth is way more complicated and honestly, more painful to accept. Your ex isn't reaching out because they don't need to. They're in a place of emotional ease and control. They might be curious about you. They may still think of you now and then. But if they think you're still emotionally available, still holding on, still hoping, they feel no rush to act. In their mind, they've got all the time in the world. They think they have the power. They assume that if they ever wanted to come back, you'd be waiting. That belief is like a safety net. It gives them the freedom to date other people, to heal on their timeline, to explore without worrying they might lose you completely. That's why silence doesn't always mean they don't care. A lot of the time, it just means their ego is still in control. Many people believe that if someone really loved them, they'd come running back. But real emotional distance doesn't always happen overnight. Your ex might still care. But those feelings are buried deep under pride, guilt, confusion, or maybe even some bitterness. Sometimes, the silence is just a way to keep control or avoid their own emotional chaos. And here's the part that really stings. Your ex is probably watching from a distance, quietly. They might be asking mutual friends about you, watching your stories, or even scrolling through your old pictures. But as long as you seem stuck, as long as you act like you're still hanging on, they'll stay quiet. Not because they don't care, but because they feel safe doing so. That's why sending long texts, trying to make them jealous, or posting thirst traps usually doesn't work. It tells them you're still emotionally open, even though they've done nothing to deserve that kind of access to you. And let me say this clearly, if someone doesn't have to work for your attention, they won't value it. So if you're stuck waiting for that message, checking your phone all the time, hoping for a simple hey, or I've been thinking about you, you need to realize that their silence doesn't mean it's over. It just means your next move has to disrupt their expectations. And don't worry, we're almost there. In just a few moments, I'm going to tell you the one move that makes 99% of exes reach out. It's not a trick. It's not manipulation. It's a small but powerful shift that rewires how they think about you. And when you do it, you'll stop being the one who's stuck. You'll become the one in control. So, what's this one move that turns everything around? What's the change that makes almost every ex stop in their tracks, wonder what's going on, and question if they made a huge mistake? It sounds simple, but it takes real inner work. You stop trying to get them back, fully. And I don't mean pretending. I mean truly and completely letting go of the idea of fixing things, and instead, focusing that energy entirely on yourself. Here's why this is so powerful. When you stop trying, you stop feeding their ego. You no longer confirm their quiet belief that they still have access to you, that they're still wanted, that they're in control. Without that ongoing validation, a gap begins to form. That gap feels uncomfortable, and discomfort leads to uncertainty. And guess what drives curiosity, attraction, and even obsession? Uncertainty. Human psychology is fascinating. We don't desire what's easily given. We crave what's unclear, what's unpredictable, what feels just out of reach. When your ex senses that you're really letting go, not faking it, not posting fake healing quotes while secretly hoping they call, but genuinely pulling away, it shifts everything. Suddenly, you're not easy to read. You're not reacting the way they expect. You're not liking their photos, sending random messages, or keeping the door open. That silence, it starts to hit differently. It starts to feel real, and that scares them. Here's the truth. People don't chase what they already have. They chase what they feel is slipping away. And when your ex starts to feel that change, when they realize they're not the center of your thoughts anymore, that you're growing, glowing, and evolving without them, it hits hard. That's when the memories rush back. That's when they look at your page more often. That's when they start asking around. That's when you get that "Hey stranger" message at 1 a.m. But this only works if it's real. If you're doing it just to get a reaction, they'll pick up on it. There has to be something genuine behind the shift. And honestly, this isn't just about making them feel regret. It's about getting back in touch with your own worth. It's about remembering that you were never meant to beg for someone's love or convince them of your value. The second you stop trying to bring them back is when the whole game changes. Not because you gave up, but because you grew up. Once you stop being emotionally available, stop being predictable, and instead become mysterious and magnetic, they start to feel your absence deeply. That's when they reach out, not because you wanted them to, but because they can't help it. So now you might be asking, why does this actually work? What's really going on in their mind when you pull away? It comes down to two emotional drivers: curiosity and regret. These are the feelings that distort reality, trigger longing, and make someone romanticize the past they once chose to leave behind. When you stop giving them access, when you stop feeding their need for attention, their brain starts to fill in the blanks. That silence becomes louder than any words. Your absence becomes more noticeable than your presence ever was. Suddenly, the certainty they had, "You'll always be around," starts to fade. That fading certainty sparks curiosity. They begin to wonder, why haven't I heard from them? They meet someone else. Are they finally moving on? Curiosity is addictive. It drives people to look for answers. In relationships, the unknown is often more attractive than the known. You're not who they thought you were. You've changed the pattern, and that unpredictability draws them in. Now, when regret starts creeping in alongside that curiosity, it creates a storm. Regret doesn't always come with big dramatic realization. Sometimes it's just a smell, a photo, a song that brings back a wave of memories. And suddenly they miss something they once didn't value, but they don't miss the version of you that waited around. They miss the version that was confident, glowing, independent, the version they now fear someone else is enjoying. And when curiosity and regret collide, it creates a powerful emotional pull. That's when they start reaching out, not because you begged, but because you became the person they're afraid they can't get back. That's the strength of true silence. That's the force behind your transformation. Let's dive even deeper. Why does all this work from a psychological standpoint? Human beings crave connection, yes, but we also crave what we feel slipping away. When you pull back, your ex doesn't just notice it, they feel it in their nervous system. That's because of a concept called reactance, our instinctive reaction to losing access or control. The moment someone feels like they've lost a grip on you, they want it back. Your ex might not even realize what's happening, but suddenly they're thinking about you more often, not less. They start remembering moments, wondering if they messed up. Add to that something called intermittent reinforcement, that on and off emotional reward cycle we get addicted to. It's why relationships with ups and downs are so hard to let go of. The highs felt so good, and now that they're gone, your ex starts craving those emotional hits again. Then there's the Zeigarnik effect, the brain's tendency to remember incomplete stories more vividly than finished ones. Your ex didn't get closure. They didn't get the final scene they were expecting, and now that unfinished feeling becomes mental clutter. It loops in the background of their mind, sometimes for years. And lastly, ego. They might not admit it, but when they see you doing fine without them, not falling apart, not begging, not seeking attention, they feel rejected. And that kind of ego hit cuts deep. It shakes their confidence. It makes them second guess everything. These psychological triggers work quietly, but they're powerful. And when you understand them, not to manipulate, but to take back your energy, you stop feeling powerless. You become the one who chooses. And that, more than anything, changes the entire story. They give you the chance to take back your power, your energy, and your peace of mind, while your ex starts to feel everything you once did. In this next part, I'll walk you through the exact things you need to steer clear of, the usual mistakes that can take away your power and push your ex further away. Don't miss this. In this part, I'll show you exactly what to avoid, the common mistakes that drain your strength and send your ex running in the other direction. Don't skip this. Let's get into the real stuff, because this is where most people go wrong. You might be doing everything right for a while, staying quiet, leveling up, focusing on yourself, but one single mistake can mess up all the progress you've made. So, if you really want your ex to come back, and more importantly, to come back wanting you, there are a few important things you simply can't do. First mistake, reaching out too soon. This one's super common. You're doing fine, staying silent, and then suddenly one lonely evening you send that, "Hey, just checking in" message. Seems harmless, right? But to your ex, it confirms what they hoped. It tells them you're still emotionally open. It boosts their ego. Worst of all, it puts them back in control. Once they know you're still there, the urgency fades, the mystery disappears. You basically handed them the closure they never earned. Second mistake, posting thirst traps or pretending to be happy just to get their attention. We've all felt tempted to post that amazing selfie or a fun night out clip, hoping they'll see it and miss us. But if it's done just to make them jealous, they'll pick up on that energy. It doesn't show confidence, it shows calculation. Nothing says, "I'm still stuck on you," louder than trying too hard to act like you're over them. Third mistake, watching their social media or reacting to their posts. Every like, every view, every casual story reply tells your ex one thing: you're still paying attention. That gives them quiet power. Believe me, the ones who get missed the most, they vanish. Their energy is no longer there. Their name stops showing up. That's what creates an impact, not the heart emoji you think is no big deal. Fourth mistake, trying to be friends. This one is tricky because it sounds mature, but staying friends with someone you still care deeply about is emotional self-destruction. It lets them enjoy your connection without any responsibility, and often it ends with them moving on while you're stuck, clinging to scraps of attention. If your goal is to get them back, not to be their therapist or second option, then don't step into the friend zone. Fifth mistake, over-explaining your value. Maybe you sent a long message pouring out your feelings and listing all the reasons they shouldn't have walked away. But here's the truth. People don't return because of logic. They come back because they feel your absence, not because you made a strong case. If you have to explain your worth, they've already forgotten it. You show your value through silence, growth, and elevation, not long text. Final mistake, making your healing journey all about them. This one's sneaky but crucial. You say you're moving on, getting better, working on yourself, But deep down, it's all still for them. And that energy shows. Healing should be for you. Growth should be genuine. Because when it's real, it draws people in. But when it's for show, it becomes obvious. And your ex won't be drawn to someone who's still emotionally orbiting around them. Here's something most people won't tell you. Getting your ex back isn't about chasing, proving, or convincing. It's about becoming someone they barely recognize. Because the old version of you was available, predictable, maybe even a little too eager. But the new version, the one who stays silent, who doesn't beg, who doesn't compete, that version is rare. That version becomes the one they desire. So if you really want them to come back, stop trying to be seen. Stop becoming someone they can't ignore. Let me give you some real life proof, because theories are nice, but results matter. I've seen this work again and again, not just in some book or therapy session, but in the lives of real people like you. When they stopped chasing, when they stopped over-explaining, and made one powerful internal shift, everything began to change. Let's talk about Amanda. She was in a 3-year relationship with someone she thought was her forever person. Then out of the blue, he said he needed space. Classic, right? She pleaded, reasoned, even wrote him a heartfelt letter. None of it worked, so finally she let go. No texts, no cryptic Instagram posts. She disappeared. Not to hurt him, but to protect her peace. 3 weeks later, he messaged her. Hey, just thinking of you. Hope you're well. And she didn't respond immediately. She waited 2 days. When she replied, it was friendly, short, and emotionally neutral. Suddenly, he was chasing her. Why? Because her silence said more than her words ever could. And now they're back, but on her terms. Then there's Jordan. His breakup crushed him. He got blocked on everything. She said she needed time to find herself, which he later realized meant she thought she could do better. But instead of falling apart, he took a different path. He hit the gym, started going out, not to show off, but to reclaim who he was. He stopped checking her stories, stopped engaging with her friends, stopped posting to get her attention. 5 weeks later, she unblocked him, then watched all his stories, then liked an old photo. That same night, she texted, "Miss your vibe. Can we talk?" She felt the shift. He was no longer predictable, and that made her wonder if she'd made a mistake. He wasn't waiting anymore, and that made her come back. And then there's Sophia. Her ex told her flat out, "I just don't feel the spark anymore." Painful, right? But instead of falling apart, she did what most people don't have the strength to do. She disappeared. Blocked him everywhere. Not out of anger, but to guard her peace. She traveled, started journaling, built a side hustle. One day, she stopped even thinking about whether he'd reach out. 6 weeks later, she saw him at a party. He looked at her and said, "You're glowing. Something's different." That wasn't a compliment. That was regret. That was curiosity. That was him realizing he'd lost something real. All of these people had one thing in common. They stopped trying to win their ex back and started focusing on becoming someone who didn't rely on anyone else for approval. And that's when everything shifted. Not because of games or clever messages, but because real power is silent, focused, and impossible to ignore. So if you're asking, will this work for me? Here's the answer: yes. If you commit to this change, let them wonder where you went. Let them feel your silence. Let them sit in the space your energy used to fill, because those who really miss you, they won't stay silent forever. They'll come back if they believe you've truly moved on. And now, let's talk about what to do once they finally reach out. You've pulled your energy back, you've stopped chasing, you healed quietly, you leveled up, and then it happens. They message you. Maybe a casual hey, maybe a like on an old post, maybe that late night "I miss you" text. Suddenly your heart starts racing, you want to reply, you want to make sense of it, but wait. This moment can either reinforce your power or give it right back. Here's what to do. First, don't reply right away. I get it. Seeing their name can hit you like a wave, but this isn't about playing games. It's about keeping control. Take a moment. Let a few hours pass. Why? Because quick responses tell them you were waiting. A delayed one shows you're not desperate. That's power. Second, keep your reply simple, neutral, and calm. Don't come in with emotion. No OMG, I missed you, or where have you been? Keep it chill. Try something like, hey, hope all's good with you. Been a while. That tone is perfect. It's kind, but it doesn't scream availability. It forces them to put in more effort and makes them curious about where you are emotionally. Third, let them show their intentions. A big mistake is taking one message and thinking it means everything. Don't assume one hey means they want you back. Are they consistent? Are they asking real questions? Are they talking about the past? Let them show you. Don't fill in the blanks with your hopes. Make them earn your attention again. Fourth, match their energy, not their words. If they're vague, you stay vague. If they open up, you can open up just a bit, but never overdo it. If they flirt without being serious, don't give more than they're giving. You're not chasing clarity, you're waiting for honesty. Fifth, don't rush to meet up. Even if they hint at seeing you, take it slow. Suggest something light, if and only if it feels right. Don't fall right back into old patterns. You're evaluating now. You're not the same person they walked away from. They need to earn access to this new version of you. Sixth, keep your boundaries strong. This is where people often slip. If your ex wants to come back into your world, they need to come correct. No drama, no confusion, no half-orphans. You're not restarting what broke. You're starting something entirely new based on respect and real growth. And seventh, stay rooted in your strength. Remember why you pulled away. Remember who you've become. This isn't about proving anything. It's about being with someone who truly values you, not just now, but always. And if they can't meet you there, that's your sign. That's your closure. You've already done the hard part. You've healed. You've detached. You've taken your power back. This last part is simply about protecting what you've built and never settling for someone who let you go once. So here's the final shift, the belief that changes everything. This was never just about getting someone back. This journey was about becoming a person who doesn't need anyone. Because the truth is, when you stop chasing, you create space to receive. When you stop pouring love into someone who couldn't hold it, you begin to pour it into yourself. And that glow, that new energy, it speaks louder than any message ever could. You don't win by proving your worth to someone who missed it. You win by becoming someone who will never question it again. So if you're still hurting or wondering if it's worth it, hear this. Healing is never wasted. Choosing peace over chaos is never weak. Pulling back isn't cold, it's wise. Every time you stopped yourself from reaching out, that was strength. Every time you stayed silent, that was growth. Every time you chose yourself, that was self-respect in action. You're not who you were when they left. You're stronger, smarter, and more grounded now. And if they come back, great. But this time, you choose if they're right for you. And if they don't, that's not rejection, that's redirection. That's life making space for someone who sees your value immediately. Someone who doesn't need to lose you to understand your worth. Let this be the moment you stop giving your power away. Let this be the moment you understand love isn't about proving, it's about matching. The version of you who begged, waited, refreshed, and hoped, she's done. From now on, you guard your peace like it's gold, because it is. You're not an option. You're not here to compete. You're here to be chosen, seen, respected. So walk forward with your head up, your heart steady, and your standards unshakable. You don't attract love by chasing it, you attract it by becoming it.